Welcome to the video on circular supply chain. You must be hearing the term circular economy in a lot of newspapers, news channels, magazines, etc. Circular supply chain is pretty much synonymous with the circular economy, and once you understand the concept of circular supply chain, you will be familiar with what circular economy means. Now, how does a typical supply chain or a linear supply chain look like? So, you get the raw material from the suppliers. You transport that to a manufacturing facility where you convert this raw material into finished good. This finished good is then taken to the distribution center and then to a retailer, from where it finally goes to the customer. Once the customer has used it, it goes to waste and then eventually a landfill. So this is a typical linear supply chain where it is based on the concept of take, make and dispose. So you take the raw material, you make the finished good, and eventually you dispose it off. Now, what does a circular supply chain look like? So let's look at that. Now, when the same supply chain is based on the principle of reclaiming and reusing, we get a circular supply chain, which is also known as a closed loop supply chain. So as you can see here, the raw material goes to the manufacturing unit, the finished product goes to the distribution center and eventually to the retailer. From there it goes to the final destination or the customer. Now, some portion of the product after use goes to waste. However, most of it is recovered through recycling and reused. So this, as you can see, is a circular supply chain. So let's now look at the definition of a circular supply chain. So a circular supply chain is defined as the supply chain operations where the waste material and used products are returned by the reverse logistics. These returned goods are then converted into products that can be resold. So as we saw in the previous diagram, the returned goods are again used to produce the final product which can be resold. Most importantly, all of this is done keeping sustainability goals and principles in mind, thereby reducing the carbon footprint of the company. Since in a circular supply chain the byproducts are reclaimed and reused, it helps companies develop new revenue streams from products that were otherwise discarded in a linear supply chain. So in a linear supply chain, the product would eventually go into waste and then eventually into landfill, whereas when we can recover some of the product and reuse them as raw materials, we can develop new revenue sources. So now let's look at some of the basic principles of a circular supply chain. So the first principle is product design for durability and longevity. So products are made to be long lasting, repairable and easily upgradable. This gives them longer lifespan and allows them to be utilized for as long as it is practical to use. The second principle is reuse. When feasible, products and components are reused. This includes practices such as remanufacturing, refurbishing, and sharing or leasing items rather than purchasing them. Third is repair and maintain. Products are built to be repairable and maintenance services are easily accessible. So instead of replacing the products, consumers are urged to repair and maintain them. The fourth is remanufacturing. So when a product reaches the end of its life, it is dismantled and rebuilt to new-like condition minimizing the need for manufacturing new products and extracting raw materials. Fifth is recycling. Materials and components from obsolete items are recycled to make new ones. Next is sustainable sourcing. Raw materials are procured in a sustainable manner with a focus on minimizing environmental and social implications. Sustainable sourcing focuses on identifying and selecting suppliers who are committed to sustainability and who can demonstrate that they meet certain standards related to environmental performance, labor practices, and social responsibility. Next one is collaboration and sharing. Sharing and collaborative consumption models are promoted in order to maximize product utilization while reducing overall demand for new items. Next one is consumer awareness and behavior change. Now, it is critical to educate customers about the benefits of a circular economy and to encourage responsible consumption. So these are some of the basic principles of a circular economy or a circular supply chain. Now, many government regulations across the world are pushing businesses to adopt the circular supply chain by creating laws and regulations around recycling and waste disposal. For example, the European Union Packaging Directive directs all countries in EU to recycle at least 50% of their packaging waste. The UK Landfill Directive has asked all UK-based companies to recycle or treat their waste products. So it is getting tighter and tighter by the day. People are realizing that they have to reduce the waste products, they have to recycle, reuse them. I've done a video on 6 R's of sustainability. All those R's like reuse, remanufacture, recycle, repair, etc. are being pushed by even the government to create a circular economy or a circular supply chain. Now, let's look at an example of a company by the name Patagonia as to how they are using the circular supply chain. Now, Patagonia is a company in the clothing or fashion industry. So currently the fashion industry accounts for a significant percentage of global carbon emissions. Each year, millions of tons of clothes are produced, worn and thrown away. Every second, the equivalent of a garbage truck load of clothes is burnt or buried in a landfill. Now, take a look at this picture which I took from a newspaper. So as you can see, this is a clothing dump here. So these are all clothes which are dumped, and these people are models. So the clothing dump, which is reportedly visible from space too, sees about 39,000 tons of clothes being discarded there every year. This event, so the fashion industry, they did an event, saw 8 models wearing outfits designed using the discarded clothes. So all these clothes that they are wearing, these are discarded clothes. Now this dump apparently is in Chile. And it seems it can be seen from space as well. So headquartered in the US, Patagonia provides a range of outdoor clothing and gear, as well as materials for sports including climbing, surfing, skiing, snowboarding to its clientele. It has long been known for its leadership in taking action to reduce environmental impacts. So following are some of the measures taken by them. So let's look at these measures. So first one is recycled material usage as raw material. So what they have been doing is that they have been reducing their dependence on new raw material since 1993, when they started making fleece out of recycled plastic bottles. And for their 2024 spring season, as per their website, 87% of their products by weight are made with preferred materials like organic and regenerative organic cotton, recycled polyester, recycled nylon, etc. And by 2025, they plan to take it to 100%. Second is a rental program. So Patagonia has started a rentals initiative for mountain biking, trail running, hiking, etc. This means that rather than buying a new set of clothes or gear, customers can rent them and then send them back to Patagonia. The garments which are returned will be professionally cleaned so that they can be rented again. The third one is second-hand goods and repair. So Patagonia has also created its own mechanism to promote the second-hand sale of its goods. There is a real consumer demand and appetite for the second-hand market. So they have created a new store chain called Von Wear. Von Wear. That enables customers to buy second-hand goods online or in selected stores, as well as getting the items repaired. So this is an example of how Patagonia is setting example in utilizing the concepts of circular supply chain or circular economy. Thank you.